quick shout out to the flagship sponsor of David Talks Buffs and David Talks Broncos YouTube channel, and that is Profit X, America's #1 sports prediction market. This is peer-to-peer sports prediction where players play against each other, like you and me, instead of a sports book versus the house. You almost always get the best odds on any play that you're looking to make. They operate in over 40 states, including Texas, where I reside. So use the promo code Dave and claim up to $200 in profit cash for all plays in the first 30 days of playing on the site. Terms and conditions apply. Go ahead, click the link in the description, sign up using my promo code Dave on Profit X, and join me on America's #1 sports prediction market. Buff Nation, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We're coming off a win. Everybody's in a good mood. Russ, how you doing, man? It's great to have another episode of the Buff Blitz.
I'm doing great. It's been a great week. It's been a enjoyable time. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Not much else. I mean, hey, BYU week. Let's see if we can bring our revenge on the quite trash talking BYU fans that I've been seeing the last 24 hours.
Oh man, well you got to catch me up. The only person I've talked to from BYU has been my friend Trevor. We'll play my interview with him about halfway through, previewing the game. But yeah, what is the consensus right now on the internet? What are the fans saying? Give me a recap.
I mean, Locked On Cougars is getting spicy, saying in their latest podcast, "What are we going to do this time to torture CU?" And then their fans are just piling on. Colorado fans not really realizing their offense is significantly worse than last year, and our defense is significantly better and one of the best in the country. This is hilarious. They think this is going to be a game.
Oh, man.
And there's more of that.
Oh,
there's so much going on.
Dude, I hope our team takes it personally, man, because they had their way with us. But they don't realize, man, we got a new Ralphie. Like, the vibes are up with Ralphie. You know, Ralphie 6 again was just a bad omen for that bowl game last year. And we got new vibes. So hopefully our defense can play with some new vibes, some new energy as well. Because yeah, if we're gonna have the opportunity to go and upset BYU, there's a lot that we need to change. There's a lot that we need to correct. But before we dive too deeply into that, Russ, would just love to hear your thoughts on we did our post game together after Wyoming, but
yep,
our opinions can kind of change, sitting on things for a day, 2 or 3 or 4. What are your thoughts right now coming off of that win against Wyoming?
I mean, still feeling pretty good. Love where the offense is at. Love what they were able to do. There is still room for improvement. And Dave, probably the weirdest thing about that game Saturday night that I realized after going back and watching the tape, our offensive line did not have a great game until Jordan Seaton and Zy Chrysler dropped out of that game. We improved when it came to run blocking after that. Very interesting. I caught a number of plays that Kareem Harden at left tackle did a very good job sealing his blocks, doing things that some of the other guys were not doing well at the beginning of the game. Same with, of course, Yo-Yo having an absolutely dominant game once he took over. I loved, by the way, that Pat Shurmur and the team had him in as an extra tight end and in some of the plays. I thought that was absolutely perfect. Also, Dave, I dare say it. I mean, there was some really good play calls in that game. Watching back the tape, the all 22, some of the creativeness that was in there. I'm gonna be honest. Dave. I mean, it was a lot better. Now, here's the thing. I mean, we want to get into conspiracy theories. I know a lot of people after the game were like, "Oh, Brett Bartolone is, helping out more with the play calling, and that's his thing." I mean, until that's confirmed or we find out more, I have to give the credit to Pat Shurmur and what he was doing, because there were some, I'm telling you, some creative, damn good plays against Wyoming. The biggest thing I saw, Dave, was Colorado called a lot of plays that Utah called against Wyoming that they had not called yet this season. So that tells me again that there's some creativity happening, there's some film study while happening, and there is some game planning happening with Colorado this year compared to years past. So I'm just going to say, I think we should give a little bit of credit to whoever was calling the plays because it was actually pretty good. Still room for even better, and I hope that we're able to do some good things against BYU coming up in the next game.
Well, you brought up wonderful points, and yeah, if I'm going to be on here every week calling for Pat Shurmur to be fired, I got called out how I see it when the offense does good. Pat Shurmur did a great job on Saturday, and he's got a chance to really like get a deep apology from me if he can out scheme these darn good BYU coaches. Man, he's goated. I'm never going to call for him to be fired for the rest of the year. That's what I'm talking about. Now, when you talk about, hey, they're rolling plays out there that opponents that beat them are using, that's what I want to see. And hopefully, again, not to get too far ahead, but I think there were some things that East Carolina did show that you can do some of these things and have some success. But yeah, this defense with BYU is very, very tough. But winning cures all, man. Winning, it brings everybody together and ups your confidence. So much of sports is mental, man. You got to remember what it feels like to win again. Wyoming, they're a tough physical team. Again, thank God that their coach had no idea what they were doing at the end. We got this. We covered. And most importantly, I think it's very clear, even moving past Saturday, is that, man, Kaidon Salter, I think he's getting comfortable. Guys are talking about him as a leader in the locker room now. That's what we need. We need a solidified leader from the quarterback position, I think, if we're going to have a chance in these Big 12 games coming up.
And what we talked about for weeks, Dave, you and I have talked about it constantly about Kaidon Salter, what we needed to see from him, what it felt. And I know there's a lot of people on the internet that have been saying this is who Kaidon Salter has always been. They should have never benched him, all this stuff. Here's the thing. I think whatever reason, whatever was going on, that was to me a different Kaidon Salter. It felt like a more confident Kaidon Salter. It oozed that. Coach Prime said that much in his pressers this week where he said, Kaidon was almost in his head a little bit. He just needed to play ball, to just do what he needed to do, to make decisions and run with it. And he did that this weekend, and it showed. So out of what anybody else wants to say, that is the biggest change. And perhaps, Dave, just like last year, as much as we hated losing to Nebraska, I felt that the loss to Nebraska kind of changed the course of the season, got us back on track. Perhaps the benching of Kaidon Salter, the Houston loss, is what this team really needed to kind of turn things around. We'll find out. It's not a guarantee, but I'm hoping that that's exactly what that does heading into this week and heading into the future weeks as we go through the season.
No doubt about it, man. Like, we just saw a more confident. He took his read and went with it. Like, he would run confidently if he had to. He would take a shot downfield when he had to. So there was none of this hesitation, I guess, that we saw with Kaidon Salter earlier in the year. So, and I want to say, too, I think he is actually throwing right now for the highest completion percentage of his career. Let me go ahead and pull that up to make sure I got it. Now, granted, 2.5 game sample size, but right now, Kaidon Salter is at a very, very nice 66.7% completion percentage. You can win games with that, baby. I absolutely love to see it. And I did want to comment, too, on the development that we've seen on the offensive line. You called it perfectly. How about that? Yo-Yo, a guy who's been here, found out of the NFL development program.
NFL Europe, yeah.
Yeah, from Cairo, Egypt, but an older guy taking a year to develop in. I mean, holy moly, the difference that we're seeing with him is substantial. To see Kareem Harden moving the best that he's moved since he's been here at CU. I think he's been here all 3 years, so it's awesome to see him having success as well. I just want to credit our three-headed monster that we have right now, offensive line coaching staff. I think that we, again, have seen a nice jump in production from the offensive line, like as a whole. And like we're going to need them regardless of who's playing. I think right now it's expected that Seton and Chris are going to play, but we're going to need a very solid offensive performance to sustain drives. Because man, I don't think we get this upset if BYU is getting a ton of drives. We have to keep our own defense off the field to have a chance against this team. And I did want to get to the super chat here really quick. Thank you, Mr. Lee. He sent it $5 your way, Russ. He's saying, that's all Coach Brett's play calling. Go back and watch the 22 Jackson State. All on Coach Brett. Oh, saying it again. Go back and watch. I don't know why I had to say it twice, but, again, thank you for the $5. And hopefully it sounded to me like, Russ, that, maybe Coach Bartolone had something to say this week. And I mean, I would love to think that there was some collaboration this week, and that's why we saw a little bit of a difference in the offense.
Perhaps that was even it. Was, they just said, hey, Brett, instead of just being with the tight ends this week, work with Pat, do some of the game planning, do some of the, play calling, throw in some plays. You could always see that. I mean, that's good coaching, is to let your other coaches have input if they have something really good to say. So I hope that's the case. I hope that's what's happening. Yeah. Nevertheless, it was a much better called game. Now, the part where we need to improve on, though, is some of the execution, because in some of the play calling, again, Dave, the receivers blocking, piss poor. The run blocking by this team, pretty piss poor. Like, our running backs are succeeding without that fact. I mean, if our blockers could just do slightly better on a few plays, our running backs would have gone for huge chunks. But they were not playing correctly and executing the way that they're supposed to on specific plays. So that's where it's at there. There is room for improvement. Going to all the BYU fans saying that, Colordo's offense didn't significantly improve. I will say this. If you do look at the grades, you look at the time, our offensive line, when it comes to pass protection, is 100 times better than it was last year. And what did BYU absolutely murder us with last year in the bowl game? They murdered Kaidon Sanders to the tune of like 100 hits. Okay, again, I'm being hyperbolic, but the fact is that was their biggest game plan and biggest way of destroying our offense. Now, Dave, we can't forget that our defense did have a pretty good game against BYU, if we remember, because we were getting the turnovers in that game.
Yes.
It was the offense that fell completely flat with Travis and Shador, and not really having a game plan going. It was more of just the backyard ball that we had seen at times last season. But, I mean, I think overall we have a better offense than we did in last year's bowl game. We'll see if that actually comes true.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I still don't totally trust this offense yet. I think I need to see
consistency.
More of it. Yeah, and again, like what they did against Wyoming, hey, that's great. I'm going to be happy about that. But man, right now, BYU's defense is ranked number 2 in total defense. They're giving up, I think, around 45 yards rushing per game and like 160 passing. But as much as we're probably going to talk about the offense, because it's just more interesting to talk about, man, again, I feel like the defense right now, they're not doing anything very well. And if we're going to have a chance in this game, we're going to have to get some stops. And I think their quarterback, Bear Bachmeier, I butchered it at the beginning of this interview that we'll play here in a bit. I called him Buck Bachmeier. I was thinking about Buck Buchanan. But I think he's played pretty good ball for a true freshman right now.
Yeah.
And the man can run it. And we'll figure out in this video why he chose the number 47. And it's not good news for us. It is. It's not good news, but we're gonna have to stop him. There are a few other things I want to ask you about. Injuries.
Yeah.
Talked about the offensive line. Simeon Price to Kalen Taylor probably looking like they're not going to play this week. Huge loss. How do you expect the running back rotation to go right now? And do you make anything from the smoke that we might see Draylon Miller at running back or Cam Michael?
It sounds like that's the case. It sounds like they're going to be creative with the running backs. However, we can't forget the return last week of Dallin Hayden, who looked, by the way, very good at the end of that game when he went into the game. He looked very, very good. He reminded me a lot of what Simeon Price does out there now. Very similar backs. So we at least have that. We at least have the fact that we can get creative with Draylon Miller, and Cam Michael. The other thing that I loved about Coach Prime when it came to injuries and rotations and what we're going to do personnel-wise, Coach Prime made mention today, the coaches made mention today that you are going to see as we head into full conference play a lot less rotation when it comes to the receivers. I am super excited about that. I am super excited about that. Play your best receivers, because right now, Dave, here, this just got tweeted, by the way, by Scott Proctor, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it now, moving off the running backs, but Draylon Miller leads the team with 18 targets this year. Of course, he is not playing very well. Omarion Miller, number 2, that makes perfect sense, 17 targets. Joseph Williams, 16 targets. DeKalon Taylor, 13 targets. Sincere Brown, 12 targets. Hakeem Williams and Zach Atkins each have 7. Michael Welsh has 6. And Quentin Gibson, Simeon Price, and Isaiah Harge have 5. So, in your perfect world, who should be the guys that get the main reps at receiver moving forward and get those targets going forward? Because if I'm being honest, Draylon Miller is not really winning me over with his play and performance this year. Not only in catching, Dave, but he's probably our worst wide receiver blocker on this team. He gets blown up every play, and that is not good with the plays we want to run.
Here's the thing, man. Sports, it's about what you do on the field. What you do on the field. Hey, if you're in some funk, you got to work on that. You got to work out of that off the field, man. Or like outside of the game. Right now, we need to be playing guys that when they're getting called upon, they are performing right now. Okay, so that's got to be Sincere Brown. That's why I put him in the thumbnail, because he's got to have a big game if we're going to have a chance to upset. Omari Miller, those are the top guys. Absolutely. Yep. Then after that, it's interesting. Joseph Williams, I think like those need to be like the 3 guys on the field most often. And we've seen JoJo Williams start to play a little bit more in the slot. So that would be my 3. But then you bring in a little bit more Hakeem Williams. I like those 4. And then if you need a change of pace, if you need to go 4 wide, because like some of those guys are a little bit redundant, you throw in Quentin Gibson. So that would be kind of the 4-5 that I go with, and you don't veer away from that unless there's issues. But right now, Omarion, Sincere, Joseph Williams, like those guys that just needs to be the offense right now. And I think with Draylon, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, him dropping balls, that's not good. But also, I just feel like physically, like he just doesn't look like the same player this year. I don't know if he added too much weight or something like that, but he's not looking nearly as dynamic as he did throughout the season last year. So you roll with those 3.
Yeah, and I mean, even watching the tape, Dave, there was several plays that Draylon was not getting open. He was not working to get open. He was staying too stagnant on plays, not really moving around once. I mean, just a lot of things that you didn't like. Sincere, by the way, probably our best receiver when it comes to scramble time. Every time the play broke down and scramble, like you could find him. Omarion also set himself up quite nicely. There was a couple plays that Kaidon did miss on. But if he hits Omarion's probably got at least another touchdown or 2. So those plays are going to be there. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. But they're starting to get on the same page. When it comes to what happens when Kaidon rolls out, gets out of the pocket, which I love to see. But yeah, those guys are my guys. Jojo or Sincere and that is the easy 1-2. Those guys better be on the field almost every single play here on out.
Yes. Yeah, enough of this. Everybody gets reps. Everybody gets. Nah, man, we're about winning games.
It's time.
And I don't know personally when you're seeing a lack of burst from Draylon right now. I don't really know why you would still reward him with snaps, like even at running back position. Like if he can't play his primary position, all of a sudden he's going to be out there pass protecting. Like we're going to be okay with that at the running back position. Again, I think you just let him figure out this stuff in practice throughout the week. But some guys I'd rather see just get fed. How about Dallin Hayden, the guy who was taking reps with the ones the entire time until he broke his hand or fractured a bone in his hand, whatever it was. And even a guy like Robbie's bringing this up here. Again, I forget about Isaiah Harge, but man, I love Isaiah Harge. He's a guy that can play wide receiver and at running back. And he has shown at running back he can be productive. So if you need a third guy, why not go with Harge or Michael? Cam Michael has played some running back as well. I don't really think we've seen much of that with Draylon this offseason at all anyways. I think he was mainly just working as one of the primary receivers of this team. So, and if I'm going to move a wide receiver out there, how about somebody with like insane speed right now? That is Cam Michael and Isaiah Harge, pretty fast too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, both those, Quentin Gibson, like you said, I mean, I want to use his speed more. Let's use his speed more and see what we can do with that and see what we're able. But yeah, Dave, overall, it's going to be interesting to see what that mean by that. I hope it does mean that we just stick with, the players that absolutely just need to be in there, and we just move forward so they can get some more chemistry going and figure that out.
Yeah. Now, before we play this interview here soon, I got to get your thoughts on this, man. We had a couple commits. Dude, how about that? I did not think at all right now. I know the standard is just different right now when it comes to our high school recruiting, but I in no way thought that we'd have 13 commits already when we were looking at this thing in June. So what did you think of Emanuel Ruffin? And then today we had Christian Ward. I would just love your thoughts on those guys.
Yeah. Emanuel Ruffin is a massive, massive get for Colorado. He's officially our top-rated recruit in the class. Took the spot from Rodney Colton Jr., who was our top commit. Defensive line. Dave, look at what we're recruiting hard. Linebacker, defensive line. The two positions that we've struggled with the most in the portal, if we're being honest.
Yes.
And so that is absolutely amazing to see what this team is focusing on, to see what they're doing, because I think deep down they know that there are other positions that they can get out of the portal that they may trust more. I'm wondering now, and the question that I keep bringing up, Dave, and you tell me if you're on the same boat, because I thought this whole time Coach Prime would be getting cornerbacks, top cornerbacks out of high school. And we don't seem to be going after him as hard as we did like when we got Cormani McLean. I mean, is it PTSD for Prime? And he's like, I'd prefer to go to the portal to get him, because he got DJ McKinney out of the portal. He got Colton Hood out of the portal. He got Preston Hodge out of the portal. You look over the last couple years since Cormani McLean and that whole thing blew up, and Coach Prime seems to be focused on cornerback in the portal versus cornerback at a high school. It seems that might be the case, and we're now focusing on the trenches for high school, which I think is the right thing to do.
Three offensive linemen.
Yes, and not to mention last year. You look at last year's too. They're adding so many offensive linemen in the high school recruiting. I think Coach Prime is starting to get what's going on when it comes to that. So Emanuel Ruffin, big get, and then Christian Ward, I think, is a good get, but I think there's some bigger prizes on the horizon that Christian Ward signals. Sedarian Morgan, obviously, I think he's going to flip. I really do. And then on top of that, Dave, his brother, Christian Ward's brother, Alex Ward, is actually the better player for 2027. He is a 4-star already, still has a couple years to go. I don't know if you watched the commitment, but he's sitting next to him. He looks bigger than his brother, and he's younger. So, like, that dude is the prize. And getting his brother here a year early, we got plenty of time to recruit him. I would not worry about him being committed to Bama. It looks like we're just trying to steal everything from Bama at this point, as they just kind of toil
Bama
away.
in shambles. I love it. Let's continue that shit post. Bama in shambles. We need to like make that trend on Twitter or something like that. But man, like I love it, and I think again, I think Christian Ward, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Brendan Rice coming out a little bit. And I don't think we've really had kind of like a Brendan Rice type of receiver on this team for a little bit. So I guess maybe more like, I don't know, like Will Shepherd's a little bit different too, because he did have, I think, a little bit more straight line speed. But I think a guy that he's going to be great in the blocking game, and he's going to be able to box guys out for contested catches. And I think that he's a pretty smooth route runner. With what I've seen on his huddle tape. So I'm excited to have him here. I think that he'll be a nice different weapon for us with the offense. But I'm curious what you think about this too, Russ, with the high school or with the transfer portal now going down to just one period in the winter.
Yeah.
Do you think I've been trying to think, like, do you think that this is going to impact the amount of people just jumping in the portal at all? Do you think you'll see retention numbers start to go up because of this and a higher emphasis on high school?
I think you'll see more guys hit that first portal. I think a lot of guys were waiting for that spring portal because they wanted to finish out their seasons. They wanted to, try and attempt to battle it out in the spring. So I think you could very well see some more guys consider hitting the portal than previously, knowing there's only one portal and one shot and one chance to go for it. So that's what I think is going to happen now with this. I like it, Dave, because, we've already seen it a couple times with Colorado where guys have, come to Colorado, spring has not competed the way they needed to, and then check out. It's like, you come here, you're going to compete. You need to compete. Stop this whole give up or, be whiny about it or whatever these guys keep doing where they leave, after spring practices. Whatever happens, like compete, work hard, do all that stuff. It'll be interesting to see. We'll definitely have to see how this first first one-time portal is going to look for Prime. But he even said it this week. Whatever we need to get, we're going to go get. And the only way that we haven't gotten the really, really big name guys that we've tried to is other teams have just thrown a much bigger bag at those guys. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to give those guys a ton of money if they're not going to be, guaranteed performers and, what that looks like. He doesn't want guys who just want the money. We say it every time, but I'm excited to see what we go after this time. I have a feeling, Dave, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially with what happened this last year in the portal, I think Prime's going to really prioritize bringing in some big name guys on the defensive side of the ball, knowing full well that the offense is a little bit more set going into next season with Julian Lewis, with the younger offensive linemen that are set to take off, with the wide receivers that are returning. I think it's going to be a priority just to work on that D-line hard in the offseason.
Yeah, we need everything at every defensive position right now, man. Like we need to be much better. I think right now we're ranked like 111th or something like that in total defense. It just it needs to change. It needs to change. Hopefully this week it can. I wanted to highlight this too, Russ. Unless you were going to say something about that, but also want your thoughts on Randy Moss. He's still around.
I think that there's going to be some longer term stuff. I think the cancer scare, I think his connection to Prime that grew, I think he wants to be around Coach Prime. And I think he's starting to realize, hey, life is more than just being like a TV analyst or doing this or that. Maybe I can give back, to the football world. And I think Coach Prime and him have probably talked about that this offseason, this summer, with all the time that they spent together, with all the time they spent supporting one another. I think it's going to be very similar to Sapp and how Sapp came to find out really quickly how much he loved working with the younger kids. I think Moss is starting to realize that. So I could very well see him being a big part of this, team going forward and what that looks like. That's going to be a big draw, by the way, because let's be honest, sometimes, yes, Coach Prime, one of the greatest names in football, Hall of Famer, all that. His playing days were before a lot of these kids who are now coming up. Randy Moss at least was a little bit in their time where they grew up as very young kids, seeing what Randy Moss did a little more. So I think that can make another big effect. What what I was going to say too, Dave, when it came to the transfer or what you were talking about, you're talking about the rankings as well, which we can get back to.
Right now, total defense. Yeah,
we can get back to. I'm not ready yet to say that BYU is what their rankings are, because if you look at their schedule and their strength of opponent, they better be ranked as one of the top college teams in the country. If they're not ranked with that schedule where they are in all those categories, then they are going to be an absolutely horrendous team. I want to see what happens. Not saying that we're the real team they're going to face. We're definitely probably better than the 3 teams they already played. Right. But right now, every BYU fan all over the internet is bringing up the fact that Colorado is ranked at the bottom everywhere and BYU is ranked at the top. And I'm just like, we played Georgia Tech, who's now ranked, looking very good, looking poised to really compete in the ACC. Houston's defense is one of the best rated defenses in the country. They looked the part. We kind of knew that going into the season. I mean, you know, we took care of business against Delaware, who, by the way, Delaware is looking pretty darn good for their first year in FBS. So maybe that dominant win is not as bad as people think. And we did what we needed to against Wyoming. So I think it's just, I would be pumping my brakes if I was a BYU fan right now, being like, okay, now comes the test. Can we actually perform against real teams? We did what we had to do against those poor teams. We didn't struggle, but I would just be pumping the brakes a little bit when it comes to that.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting preview, man. Shall we get to our sponsor for today's show before we dive into it, Russ?
Yes, we should definitely get to our sponsor. Of course, the greatest sponsor, the GOAT of sponsors, and that is Taco Bell. Live Moss, baby. And not only do we have the $7 buff box that you can go get at your local Taco Bell's here in Colorado only, but Taco Bell has also brought back the unbelievable Y2K menu. That's right. If any of you guys out there are as old as Dave and I and get up in the morning and can barely walk and have back pains all the time, then you know what it was like to live through the Y2Ks. And they've brought back menu items such as the caramel apple empanada, the double-decker taco, the double-decker taco, and so many other classics that they've brought back, all for $3 or less. That's right, $3 or less. Combine that with a buff box, and for $10, you probably have enough food for 2 people. And as I say every time we read this spot, in this economy, $10 meal for 2 people, yes, please. You probably can't even get groceries for that cheap. And while some people will make fun of the fact that Taco Bell is food they don't like, well, I say boo to you, because I love Taco Bell. It's the go-to fast food. And the fact that they are actually helping our wallets out and helping Dave and I too on this channel, that should tell you all you need to know. Go get your buff box. Go get your Y2K menu items. And of course, Taco Bell is donating $1,000 per touchdown to the General Scholarship Fund for Colorado. So they're also supporting athletics and education. So support your Taco Bell. Live Moss, Sco Buffs.
Beautiful. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, we do got a super chat here.
Oh, good old Coach Barry coming in with the big bucks.
Good segue over to my conversation here with Trevor. Thanks so much, Coach Barry, for the $10. Says, "What's up, guys? I'm a big bettor. Well, hopefully you're making some plays on Profit X. Use my promo code Dave. And I'm terrified of this BYU game, man. I love our buffs, but running teams destroy our buffs. And a team like BYU looks like it's going to be a nightmare for us. Well, we're just going to have to see. Should we get to the preview, Russ?
Yeah, let's get to the preview. And Coach Barry, we'll talk to you at the end of this about what we think about the current situation with the bets, especially on Profit X.
Now I got to remember how I did this. Here we go. All right. And Russ, let me know if you can. Buff Nation, I am so happy for you guys to meet my friend Trevor. This is our 3rd collab. We've had our YouTube channels going around for the last few years. So we've done one every single year together. And last year, we did one right before the Alamo Bowl. It did not go in my favor, went in Trevor's favor, as they demolished us. I don't even know what the score was, but I was there at Ralphie's 6 last run. And good riddance. We have a new Ralphie, Trevor. She runs. She loves to be out there. And hopefully we can have some new energy going up against a very, very good BYU team. Thanks for joining, Trevor. How you doing today? What are your thoughts on BYU going into this matchup?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's crazy. I didn't really think about it until you pointed it out. Yeah, this is our third year in a row that we've collaborated. And you look at my channel, it's ultimately kind of the same. You've upgraded to the paid version of StreamYard. And so you're really rolling in it, I guess. So congratulations. And no, you do great stuff. I mean, I get notifications of all your stuff. I love it. And you've kind of really gone for it. So I really love your show and what you're doing with it.
Dude, thanks, Trevor, man. It's just been a lot of fun, and it's been fun being part of the Big 12. That was what our first stream was. And man, now I'm hoping CU can kind of hold their own weight and hopefully developing a little rivalry here with BYU, man. But BYU, even though they've had a change at quarterback, it seems like everything is going somewhat according to plan. What were the expectations coming into the year with Jake Retzlaff leaving? Did that cause any concern? What have you made from the play of Bachmeier? Did I pronounce his name correctly so far?
Yeah, so coming into the season, obviously expectations were high whenever coming off the heels of what was a very good season for BYU. It was they going 11-2. You mentioned the bowl game, but just really outperforming even the most what we say blue goggle, the most like bought in homer takes. It would still kind of outpace that. And so coming into this year, expectations were really high. Obviously Jake Retzlaff was coming back, the quarterback, but a lot of other guys that probably could have gone for the NFL decided to come back. And so you felt like, okay, we're building on this core. We've got some more youth. We have some depth, and we really like what we have, our pieces. Defense is really coming a long way. We're in year 3 under Jay Hill. And so the expectations were, okay, BYU, better at least be in the conversation again for another, the Big 12 championship game. If not, making it to the game, winning it, we thought playoff possibility, all these things that we saw kind of fall apart and disappear at the end of last season. We thought, okay, this is our chance to go get it. Obviously, the Jake Retzlaff thing happened. I won't rehash all of that, but I think it was best for both parties to kind of separate ways. It seems to be working out pretty well for him. I guess last week, not as well. But he's doing really well. BYU fans are happy for him. But focusing on BYU, he left. It kind of needed to happen, but there was some concern about depth at quarterback and who was going to be the guy. And there was this quarterback battle. We weren't sure how long this was going to go on. Obviously, you had 3 guys at first. You're just like, that's just not enough reps to get somebody integrated into the system, really get them familiar with the rest of the team. And, the hope was that this young freshman who's had the highest ceiling of all the quarterbacks could win the job. And so when he did, people were really excited, bought in all the way. Now, he still looks a little bit young out there. There's moments, I think he's taken a little bit of time to warm up in each of his games. But once he gets warmed up, once he gets cooking, he's really shown high potential. And unlike Jake Retzlaff, who was a little bit turnover prone, he's been able to take care of the ball. And so I think the quarterback position is still, it feels like that's kind of how he goes is how this team is going to go, which is a normal thing. Obviously, quarterback is the most important position on the team. But just because he's so young, we feel like the other groups, for the most part, are experienced, have the talent and depth. And so now it's, can the quarterback now lead the team and get us there? And so far, signs are pretty positive. BYU fans are pretty hopeful.
Couple questions coming off of that. So, of course, what's really important for a young quarterback especially important for a young quarterback, is the offensive line. One of the guys that I don't even remember if he was starting for y'all last year, but I was like, dang, he's starting for BYU. This man at CU looked like he needed like 2 hip replacements, and that's Isaiah Jada, your starting left tackle. I see that he's having a phenomenal year. Again, didn't really pop here at CU. I will totally blame coaching and development for that one, but what has his development been like? What have you made of his play so far at BYU? And just overall, like, has that offensive line that you saw play very well last year, has that translated and led to another good year in 2025 so far?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. He's graded out really high. And all I think probably one of our highest graded players after every game. And so he's obviously balling out. He did this last week have several holds, which is a little worrying because that's going against ECU. So if that's something you can talk about discipline, but if he's getting beat out by ECU, then you have to wonder a little bit about now going into a tougher competition in the Big 12. Because regardless of how good or bad the teams are, it's going to be another caliber of athletes by and large. And so that was a little worrisome. But to speak to your point, I put a lot on the coaching staff. So we saw, for just an example, an Oklahoma State guy, we had Caleb Etienne come from Oklahoma State in his first year. And it was because he just wasn't going to get playing time at Oklahoma State. Comes to BYU. They move him all over the place. He's just kind of a mess. He's humongous, but just a mess. Then we change out coaching staff. We get someone in there with a lot of experience, a lot of professional experience, and comes in and just completely reinvented the offensive line. And he turned into one of, he was the one of our best offensive linemen. And he was just huge, and he was a force and looked like a completely different player. So if you're saying Jada didn't pop at Colorado and now he's doing well at BYU, I put it on that coaching staff.
That does not surprise me at all, man. I feel like BYU, they're a machine right now. They play football in a smash mouth way. They play football the right way, and we got a very tough challenge against us while y'all come into Boulder. Should be an electric environment. But yeah, this is a very good team. Who are some of the players outside of 47, the quarterback, right? By the way, did he choose 47 for any – sorry, I got like a fly running around here. Did he choose 47 for any particular reason or like memes? What's the background behind 47 before we get to the rest of the roster?
It's because he's a freshman and all the good numbers were taken. No. Could you imagine the team just hates him? Hey, sorry, quarterback, you got No, it's because his dad, it goes back to his dad always teaching him to play like a fullback. He wanted him to go through people and play with that toughness and with that mindset. And so he keeps that mindset. And if you've seen him play, he definitely plays like that. Yeah. Going around people, not so much. He goes through them, and which I don't know if you love with your quarterback, but it's also, because you don't want him to get injured, but it is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I like that. I'm a fan of that. But I'll be honest, Trevor, when I was going through my season prediction, I put this game down as a win for CU simply because we cannot lose to a quarterback whose number's 47. But obviously, numbers probably don't have anything to do with that. We got a tough challenge. Y'all are 6.5-point favorites on the road here on ESPN. Who are some of the other players, both on offense? Maybe you can name a couple in their numbers. Impact players that you foresee being guys that CU needs to be keying in on to stop in order for us to have a chance to upset y'all.
Yeah, some of the key players. Chase Roberts, in terms of wide receiver, he is by far our best receiver, especially now. We've had an injury to who was supposed to fill in as kind of the number 2 guy. But he and Bear, they've connected on some good ones, but there's also been some miscommunication. So we're still waiting for it to like Retzlaff really had great chemistry with Robert. So we're waiting for that to pick up a little bit. But who's become kind of a safety valve for him is Carson Ryan, our tight end. And he is like a complete tight end. He is every down, and he has just been a safety blanket for BYU, who really has not had a lot of action for the tight ends over the last several years. He's come in and really already made a big impact. But probably our best player on the offensive side is LJ Martin, and he is our running back, and he is really looking the part. Like, we've known he's been good. He's had some injury issues the last couple of years, but he's filled out. I think he looks bigger this year, and he is just playing great. He's averaged over 100 yards in the first 3 games, which, again, you look at the competition, but this is the first time someone from BYU has done that in, I can't remember. It's been decades. So it's been quite some time. And he, something that our offensive coordinator, Aaron Roderick, really likes to do is establish the run to open up the pass. But in previous years, we haven't always had the run game. Our pass game has been stronger. Whereas this year, against ECU, he did just that. He tore off a couple big runs early on in the game. ECU started loading the box, and BYU wasn't getting anything with the run game, but it just left so much open for the pass game. And it gave time for Bear to get out there, get comfortable. For someone who's having slow starts, the fact that he can rely on his running back, get time to get settled in. And then once he got cooking, he just kept cooking for the rest of the game. And I think that was exactly how BYU wants to play it on offense.
Yeah, that's always a quarterback's best friend, having some pressure taken off of them, having a strong run game. And yeah, when I'm looking at the defensive matchup that CU has, I mean, this is a nightmare, because right now this defense has been the biggest disappointment, I think, from what we expected coming into the year. I think they're in the bottom 100 right now, or close to it, depending on where they're at after Wyoming. But this is a team that I expect to have to stack the box in order to attempt to stop the run. We play a lot of man coverage. Y'all saw that last year. I think Bear Bachmeier, sorry, I pronounced his name incorrectly. I was thinking about our kicker, Buck Buchanan, for some reason. But yeah, he should have plenty of opportunity to go one-on-one, like at some of these guys, because we play a lot of man coverage. So stopping the run, it's going to be imperative for us to have a chance. And like, who on defense? We run more of a spread style. We are run the football a little bit more, but at the end of the day, we're going to drop back, sling that thing. Who are some of the guys on defense that should make an impact, whether that's coming off the edge or in the secondary?
Well, I got to start with our linebackers. We've got a duo that, when I mentioned players that potentially could have left last year for the NFL, we're talking about Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasker, who you may remember doing the Deion little celebration right in front of last year. So he says it was out of respect, because he loves Deion Sanders, but
it's all right.
Sure, sorry, yeah. But these two are just monsters, and I was, after the ECU game, I wish I could pull it up on here. They let us down on the field. There were a few players out there, and I got to stand next to Jack Kelly and get a picture. And that is a stout young man, but yet he has the closing speed. He had 2 sacks last week, and he is someone who's, both of them have big time aspirations. But then also another player that had a game this last week is Evan Johnson. He had 2 interceptions, 1 a pick 6, and really swung the game himself, because not only did he score when BYU's having trouble getting to the end zone, he also had an interception in the end zone, keeping ECU out. And so just really the momentum shift that he caused right there, and had some great picks last year as well. So, and then lastly, I got to point out Keanu Tanavasa, and this is one of our other transfers from Utah who comes in, a big young man, coming in the middle, really helping BYU, requiring that the opposing side give him a lot of attention, making things easier on the rest of the guys to hopefully get more pressure, and hopefully this year more sacks on the quarterback, because that's something where BYU lacked last year, was not, pressuring, causing a lot of chaos, great, but not actually getting home. And so that is something I think that he frees up some of these other guys to do this year, so really having a big presence in the middle.
Well, Trevor, man, it's I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm expecting my Buffs to put up a good fight. For anybody that's going to the game, well, I guess we'll talk about this on your channel, but no free ice cream. But, Folsom is still a beautiful venue, and I think a lot of the Cougar fans that are coming out for it, they will enjoy their weekend in Boulder. But Trevor, man, thank you so much. You do a phenomenal job. Love your channel. Let the people know where they can find you. And, yeah, what you got coming up next?
All right. Yeah, you find me Saturday's Warrior. My Twitter handle's right here, Sats Warrior BYU. You find me on Twitter. It's the same thing, but on YouTube. And you can, I post there weekly. I do live shows Monday night, kind of doing power rankings, breaking down the weekend. Then these collaborations, I've had a hard time making it work this year, but now that I'm in conference, I hope to be doing this every year with our college huddle buddies.
Yes.
And then live reactions after the game, as well as whatever other content I can get out there in the meantime. But yeah, if you like talking Big 12, whatever, please come on and join us. We love all the conversation and the insights from opposing fan bases.
And never met a mean BYU fan. Hey, I'm always going with BYU over Utah every single time. That's where we can find our common ground, Trevor. So again, thank you so much. All my Buff fan friends, please go subscribe to Trevor. Like he said, he talks more than just BYU, talking Big 12, talking overall college football. So he does a phenomenal job. Again, thank you so much, Trevor, and good luck. Good luck to the Cougars on Saturday, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, good luck.
How do I unmute you?
I can unmute myself. There we go.
Well, I've never met a mean BYU fan, but apparently y'all have. Apparently y'all have this week. What's up with that? So, Russ, takeaways, any insights that you gained from my conversation with Trevor outside of the quarterback wearing 47 because he has the mentality of a fullback? That is terrifying.
I think it's what I thought. It's what I've previewed. It's what I've looked at going to this game. The thing that worries me the most is BYU's defense and whether our offense can do well against them. They have quite a stout defense. They have some really good returning players that dominated us in the bowl game last year. They're grading out really well when it comes to defense, even though, yes, they have not really played any opponents, but they're still doing what they need to do. They've got the size, they've got the grit, they've got the ability. It's the same thing we said going into the bowl game. I think estimated how good that defense was going to be, how they were going to dominate, and they did just that. But last year, their offense struggled heavily. Going to this year, I think they're going to have to go with the running game first and foremost. I think Bear being a more of a hard-nosed running quarterback than a dual threat or a just pure passing quarterback concerns me, because that reminds me of Haynes King, although he's not going to be Haynes King.
Dude, freaking Connor Weigman. How about Connor Weigman running all over us?
That's true. That's true. But the other thing to say is, we laid a licking on Haynes King that whole game, and you heard him say that they sometimes are a little worried about him doing that. We're already a couple games in the season. He very well could be a little bit banged up. CU needs to treat this like we did the Georgia Tech game when we were, bringing the wood. Yes. Did we allow 400 yards? Yes. There were some times, though, that I felt like our defense did good enough. Losing 7 points to Georgia Tech, it looks better and better every single week. And so I am putting my hat on the hook of the way we win this game is we need our offense to show up and be the offense that they were last weekend, the offense that Kaidon Salter can run. At that point, I think both teams can kind of go back and forth, and it's going to be a close game, but a high-scoring game. And that's going to be my only hope that CU can get a victory out of this, is if that's the sort of play that we get going for this game against BYU. What about you?
Yeah. We're going to need to stop the run and put the ball in the hands of Bear Buckmeyer in the most rowdy environment that he's played in to just make plays. And likely, I know somebody said in the comments, I forget who it was, you can't stack the box because then our receivers are going to get, or then our corners are going to get beat. That's exactly the issue that we have right now. But that's like, we cannot allow LJ Martin and this Cougars running game to just run all over us, man. We at least need to challenge their offense to be a little bit outside of their comfort zone. If we can get them in long second and third down situations to where they're going to have to drop back and pass, not off of play action, that really does benefit us. You know, we talked about Isaiah Jota. I guess he's a hold monster now. I guess he's a flag monster now. So that could be an advantage for us right there. We'll have to see.
I mean, first game, Portland as a football team. Yeah, he scored 83. Second game, Stanford, 82. East Carolina, who actually is a football team. What does Isaiah Jota grade out as, Dave? A 56. Back to his CU days. I'm just saying, like, after the game here, saying BYU has only given up 16 points in 4 games. I would hope that they only gave up 16 points in those 3 games. And it's 3 games, not 4 games. 3 games. They've played 3 games. And all 3 of those games, Portland, Stanford, East Carolina. Okay? I'm just saying, I want to see them prove it long term. We have no idea right now, because I'm not going to say that they're a bad defense just because they played those teams and showed up. But I'm also not going to crown them as the best defense in all of FBS when they haven't actually played anybody good enough to really crown them the best defense in FBS. So that's where I'm at. That's the hard part about this game, Dave. I have no clue what to expect from BYU. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's not. I mean, Bear Brockmeyer has played 3, like, you could almost say non-FBS schools in his first 3 games of his career. Of course he looks good. He better look good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we got to see.
Coach Barry with the $2 saying, I pray we stop the run, man.
We're not going to stop the run. I think it's, and Dave, you tell me if I'm wrong. I think it's just, let's not allow too much when it comes to the run. Like, let's, keep it under 200 yards maybe this game. And if that happens, maybe we got a chance to win,
Yeah, screw it. Maybe we just get to, like, our players to watch for the game, like our keys. Then we could get into our predictions. Give me one guy on offense and on defense that we need to have a big game to beat BYU this week.
On offense, I'm going to go, because of the injuries, because of what's happening, I want to see Dallin Hayden break free. Yes. I hope they give him the rock. I hope he's back 100% this week, and that he's the guy. And I hope that he shows what the work that he put in this offseason was able to do. He got unlucky with the broken hand early on. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping that he's ready to go. He's been itching. He's been seeing what the running backs have been doing, and he's like, hey, guys, I'm going to run for 100 yards this game, and I'm going to help carry this team to victory on the offensive side of the ball. What about you, Dave? What about offense for you?
Yeah, it's the man in the thumbnail, Sincere Brown, our leading receiver. There's going to be opportunities for Kaidon Salter to throw downfield. Sincere Brown needs to come up with big time catches to move the chains. Traylon, man, if he can help make this offense balanced against BYU, that's a huge win for us. I think that right now, probably the only way that I can say I have somewhat some faith that we could get this win is if our passing game is on point. And that's with Sincere Brown making a ton of plays for us, man. Like, showing off that speed. We need him to have another really good game, I think, if we're going to stay in this game and make it competitive. So he's my offensive guy. Dallin Hayden was another guy I was thinking about mentioning, but I'm glad you beat me to it. What about on defense?
Defense is a little bit tougher for me just because I know what's going to happen in that game. I know what's going to be important. I mean, most likely we're going to win or die based on how our linebackers play and based on how our safeties play. So, guys who I expect to have an impact versus guys that I want to see have an impact if we're going to be successful. If we're going to want to be successful, Tafiq Bayard, I think, needs to be the guy to show up. He's been showing up each game. I think he can make a difference in this game if he, is disciplined and does what he needs to do on the back end when it comes to the running game, I think that's going to be important. I mean, if I'm being honest, Dave, the one guy that needs to show up, but I don't think he will, is Carter Stoutmire. I mean, he just has not been playing well. He has been getting juked out of his shoes every week. And with their tight end being their top receiving target, I will say, surprisingly, Kazoil didn't do much with Houston. I think that was more Houston's detriment of not giving him the ball, which I still don't get to this day. But I do believe that whoever our safeties are going to both have to play very well. And perhaps we see Slaughter, perhaps we see Love this week instead of Stoutmire. I'm sure all fans would be screaming in complete joy if that were to happen. But you tell me, Dave, what do you think as far as defense goes?
We need a big game out of Arden Walker, man, against the run. And he's got to get his revenge on Isaiah Jada. Dude, Isaiah Jada. Well, I don't know why he has to get revenge on him. He was booty while he was here. But again, this man I thought needed 2 hip replacements, and now he's the starting left tackle for BYU. Let's take advantage of this and get some pressure on a true freshman quarterback wearing number 47. We got to track him down. I think you're absolutely right. Like, the linebackers are probably the biggest key to this game, was stopping the run and making sure that this guy doesn't turn into a Lamar Jackson against us, running all over the place, because he's got the ability to. He had a very long run, if I remember correctly, for a touchdown against East Carolina last week. They're going to be able to get yards on the ground. We just have to limit that. With that being said, Russ, should we get into to our predictions? I feel like we should end with yours.
End with mine,
I'm
Dave.
not going to be too positive. You probably get the vibe of that, man. Here's the thing. I love to see the development with the offense right now. Like, I love that. But also, Mr. Dill, this doesn't make any sense. I don't think there's a team out there that can outscore us. We have 2 losses. We have 2 teams that have literally outscored us. So BYU can absolutely outscore us. And I think my biggest concern with this game is that you can say, yes, they have not played a team at the same talent level that they have. The problem is that even coming out of that Wyoming game, Wyoming, an atrocious offense, averaging, I think, 12 points a game coming into last week, had by far their most successful offensive day against us, having 350 yards of total offense. This was the first time their offense scored in the double digits, and they scored 20 points on us. It was looking like it was going to be more than that. So, Russ, I have no faith in this defense at all to stop BYU.
Yeah.
So that's really what it comes down to. And they have showed me nothing. They have showed me nothing this year that gives me confidence they can shut down an offense with a dual threat quarterback, with a very good running back, and some top end receiving talent in the conference, man. They've been soft, and I hope to God this is me putting like a positive curse on them. Say, man, Dave doesn't believe in us. They're all soft. Yes, please. I want to look like an idiot on Saturday night when we're done with this game. I didn't think we could cover the spread last week. They proved me wrong there. But, yeah, this defense, I have no expectation for them to stop anybody. This prediction is going to probably piss people off. But I got 31-20 BYU.
Okay. So not even a close game. I mean, 11 points, that's considered a blowout in football terms. So Dave going dark side, Dave, for the prediction. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Here's my side of it. I agree. I don't believe in this defense. I don't believe in them being able to do what is necessary. I believe that BYU will do whatever they want to do, just like every team we've played this year. However, I feel like this game will be similar to Georgia Tech. I believe that Georgia Tech's offense is very similar to BYU's offense. Georgia Tech's defense is similar to BYU's defense. And if anything, Dave, I'm going to call it. I think that in the end, we'll figure out at the end of the season that Georgia Tech was a better team than BYU when everything is said and done once the season kind of settles. So it's because of that, and it's because of Kaidon Salter finding his method, finding who he is in last game, which I think will continue, meaning that the offense will be better than they were against Georgia Tech. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be a close game. I've got to just do it. I got to throw it on the line here. I'm going to dare say it to myself, even though everybody in the chat is saying BYU is going to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and say 32-28. Colorado somehow squeaks out the revenge game against BYU. And the only reason we win, Dave, the only reason, because a lot of people already say it in the chat, BYU is going to run through our defense. Yeah, they are. That's what we both just said. That's what we both just said. But Kaidon Salter is going to have an unbelievable game, and he's going to put the entire country on notice with the game that he's about to put up against BYU. And that's how Colorado is going to be victorious against BYU.
Dude, let's hope so. Because
I know.
when we get this win against BYU, it puts us back on the map of being a Big 12 contender. And I completely forgot to mention this, Russ, is that this gives us fantastic momentum going into the game the following week against
Iowa State. Iowa State.
Oh, yeah. But that one's at 9:30. So we're already used to winning these games late at night, right? So let's get 2 wins in a row late at night, and we'll be back to do our hopefully victorious post game. Where I say, Russ, dude, you had this whole thing scouted down to a T. Man, I was just going dark side. I was just going dark side. That's what it's gotta be.
If I'll be honest, Dave, like, I don't have confidence in that prediction. Like, I really don't. And by the way, I'm going to be at the game. I got given tickets the last minute. So I'm going to go to the BYU game. I did not want to go to this game. I wasn't going to, fork over money for it just because of how I felt like it was going to go. But I'm going to throw on the Homer hat just for this moment and, pray to the football gods that CU can get the victory. But trust me, it was not an easy prediction, and I would not be putting money on this game, by the way. Coach Barry, if you want the answer for Profit X from what you asked earlier, I would not be putting money on this game. There is way too many variables out there. We have no clue if BYU is legit, if they're a pretender. We have no idea which CU we're going to get, which offense. There's no consistency there. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole if I wanted to, win some money. So there's that part. Okay, there's that part.
Can we have the great K-Salt arrive on defense too? How about put his brother out there, have him ball out?
I hope so.
That would be great. But yeah, like this is a tough one, man. And so yeah, if y'all are frustrated, Dave, you don't believe. Number one, sports is not a religion. What is wrong with you? I can't get up here and just lie to you. I got to be real. And right now,
I know.
Man, I'm dark side.
What's funny, Dave?
But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be rooting for our Buffs, man, to get this upset. And, dude, our student section, they can't leave in the freaking third quarter like a bunch of losers.
Hey,
man.
I liked what Coach Prime had to say. What Coach Prime had to say. You didn't hear what he said when he asked about fans leaving?
Yeah, he was lying, dude. He was absolutely lying, dude.
He was like, the game was over. They left because the game was over, which is a good thing. That means we did our job. And it was also Parents' Weekend. But yes, Dave, my guess is this game's going to be close. The fans will stick around the whole game. It won't be a blowout. At least I hope to God it's not Houston 2.0. I want a good football game. I think we're going to go. And Coach Barry's got 2 more super chats.
Oh my God. I'm sorry I missed them.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
Hey, we only have Welsh and Hayden at running back with Draylon being used. I hope to God not. What has he ever shown that he deserves to be on the field right now? I'm being dead honest. I guess I'm going full dark. What the hell has he done to earn more playing time? Oh, because some other guys are out? How about you play Isaiah Harge? How about you play Cam Michael, man?
That's what I want to see. I want to see the opportunity for Cam Michael. They've been slowly getting him back into practice. He's playing both ways. He's doing stuff in the defense. My question is, when are we going to see him in a game get to release that speed that we've been waiting for 2 years? So I hope so. And then what was the other one that Coach Bear had?
Our buff should have practiced against Ralphie all week, which was prepared us. See, the best comment of the night. You're absolutely right.
700 pounds just coming down the train
tracks.
tracks
For the BYU running game. You're absolutely right. But man, Russ, I hope we get enough stops. I feel like we might have to score on close to every possession to get this victory, man. I think our offense is going to have to be perfect.
Hey, by the way, just tweeted out the injury report for the game for both teams. Figure we'll just really quickly throw this out there. But officially out for the game. RJ Johnson, Terrence Love, DeKalon Taylor, Simeon Price, Philip Houston, Sam Okunlola, Tafiq Thomas, and Gabriel Lightfoot. Out for the first half, of course, and Quinn Barnes due to suspension. Doubtful. This is interesting, Dave. Doubtful for the game. Makari Vickers is doubtful. TJ Branch, doubtful. Questionable, Keaton Wade, who, by the way, has been practicing in a yellow jersey all week. That's not good. Keaton Wade is questionable. And then probable, listed on the probable, is Kaidon Salter, Tion Parks, Preston Hodge, Martavius French, Mana Taimani, Amari McNeil, Brandon Davis-Swain. Most likely all the probable will play. And then BYU is healthy, Dave. Yeah. BYU is healthy. They're out. Jonathan Cabella, cornerback, wide receiver Jojo Phillips, running back Sione Moa, and linebacker questionable Logan Payne, defensive end Kinalua. I can't pronounce any of these guys' names. They're all Polynesian, unbelievable good players. The probable is 4 guys. Like, we have double the injury list that BYU has for this game on top of that.
Oh my God!
Vickers is doubtful, by the way. Somebody just doubtful.
Out and doubtful again. We got Vickers. Who else?
TJ Branch and Kyle Carpenter, but TJ Branch hasn't made his debut yet. So really it's Makari Vickers that is the starter that will not be available.
I don't care how bad Vickers has been burned, dude. It's not good when we're having players out. Hopefully somebody can step up, and hope to God, we didn't even talk about this, Robert Livingston can call a different defense to help these guys out, because we don't have guys to cover one-on-one with no help over the top. Absolutely not. You might say you might not have the talent. Man, I don't even know what you do. We got better talent than a bottom 20 defense in FBS college football. I believe that. So you guys want to all shit on Pat Shurmur? Keep that same energy when the defense isn't performing well. Robert Livingston has been a massive disappointment, and I pray to God that he wakes up this week and schemes the defense to have more success.
Yep, and I just can't wait for the comments, Dave, especially because we went split. You're going to get the hate from the Buffs fans. Yes. Saying the C is losing. And I'm going to get the hate from everybody else, including BYU fans who will probably show up in my comments saying, how could you take Colorado? And no matter what, Dave, one of us is going to be happy and one of us is going to be sad come this weekend. But hey, here's the one thing you won't see us doing. Dave is not going to cheer for the Buffs to win or lose just so he can say he was right.
No.
So he can say he was right.
Y'all know I don't take myself that seriously on YouTube. Whoever takes themselves super seriously on YouTube, man, they need to touch the grass. Look at me right now. You're saying that I don't want the Buffs to win. Of course I want the Buffs to win. We're still not out of this Big 12 conference play or title game, whatever. We're not out of there. If we win today, it's full on, dude. Full on, we're beating everybody the rest of the schedule. That's how I feel if we beat BYU on Saturday night.
We're in every game. I mean, we're back to our preseason predictions if we beat BYU. I will say that, Dave. Would you agree? Would you agree we're back to kind of
baby.
8-9 wins maybe?
Yeah, we're back to being elite, baby. I can't wait to talk about that. So, Russ, it's always a pleasure, man. And I really like the show because we had some different opinions, some different looks at things. That's always something that I love. I don't get me twisted. I love it every time we do a show, but man, sometimes we got the same opinion on things. So sometimes it's cool when we don't. And
for sure.
This is going to be fun to see how the game shakes out. Let me know and let the people know what you got going on in your channel and what happened on Monday with the Collins show. Did somebody want a shirt?
Yes. Yeah. We did. Colton from Texas won a Taco Bell shirt. He's getting sent that. He called in on Monday. Every Monday we do the call-in show, whether it's Victory Monday or Crash Out Monday. That's what we officially call it. That's what it is every time. It's not us officially crashing out. Okay. If we lose by 1 point to BYU, I'm probably not going to say deep down it's truly a crash out Monday, Dave. I would say, hey, we got some things to fix. We hung in there. Maybe we're going to be okay. Maybe we can compete in the Big 12 this year, but we'll see what happens. So I'll do a show Friday afternoon, a little pre-game show where we'll do some final talking about BYU. I may take some phone calls then. And then, we'll be back on Monday to see what happens at that point. But hey, you never know. You never know, Dave. You never know.
That's right. Guys, I'll be back with some more videos and streams this week leading up to the BYU game. Of course, please support. Liking and subscribing does more than you know to help the growth of our channels and growth of the platform. So thank you guys again so much, and a big shout out again to Coach Barry sending Russ all sorts of super chats. Thank you so much, along with Mr. Lee. So thank you guys for being a big part of today's stream. That's always appreciated. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Go Buffs.